Hi, my name is Sasha. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing my November wrap up, and I had probably the best reading month I had all year. I only had 4 and 5 Starbucks, so it was excellente. Like, such a good reading month. I read 6 books. 2 were 4 stars and 4 were 5 stars. And I'll just bring you the 4 stars first, and then we'll go to the 5 stars. So the first book that I read was actually a graphic novel, and it was called Mooncakes by Wendy Zhu and Suzanne Walker. And this is about Nova Huang and Tam Lang. Nova is a witch, and Tam is a werewolf. And they were kind of childhood best friends, and then Tam comes back to the town that Nova lives in, and they kind of reconnect. And there's a mystery happening. Tam is running from people who are in a cult, and it was just really wholesome, and just like it was a little, when nothing bad happens, things kind of get boring for me. Things happen toward the end that kind of made it better, but I need higher stakes, and this just didn't have it. And I also really didn't vibe with the art style, but I thought it was adorable. The love story was just so soft, and I absolutely adored it. And all the representation, there's non-binary representation, there's disability representation, there's LGBTQ, like, old people representation, which we love to see. It was just a delight. Next, I read The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. This is the second book in the Winter Night trilogy. I can't really tell you what this is about without spoiling the first book. So I will just say that Fazia is back again, making trouble, as she always does. And this time she's in Moscow, and that's fun. That's really awkward. I don't know how to describe it without spoiling the first book. So what I liked about this book, it was like the second half was like so fast paced. There was so much happening. Like, I love Vazia. I love the siblings. Her and her siblings are like my favorite sibling group. Just all, like, there was so much good about this book. But the first half was so slow. Like, it was so achingly slow, and I cared, but I wasn't as invested as I was in the first book. Because for the first book, I was just, like, invested the entire time. Like, I loved every minute of it. But yeah, the second book, I just had to, like, wait, and I don't like that. I don't want to have to, like, read. It had second book syndrome, is what I'm trying to say. If you don't know what second book syndrome is, I don't know, Google it, because I'm not a good explainer. But it was not what I wanted from the second book until the second half. The second half was lit. Like, it was pretty awesome. And a lot happened, and it has implications for the next book. And a lot of cool folkloric creatures showed up. I'll tell you that. If you like Russian folklore, you like the Winter Night trilogy. So, yeah. Next, I read Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen. This I have a full review for, so I'll link that above. I just thoroughly enjoyed this. It was good from start to finish. There was no lull where I was bored. I just enjoyed myself the whole time. So if you want to check that review out, go ahead. Not next. I can't get this out of my mouth. Not technically, like, I didn't read these in order, but next I'm going to talk about The Baron the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, which is the first book in the Winter Night trilogy. So, I didn't tell you what Love Boat Taipei is about. This always happens to me. So Love Boat Taipei is about Ever Wong, who is a dancer, but her parents don't want her to dance, they want her to be a doctor. And so they send her to this camp after she graduates, like a Chinese Mandarin language camp called Chiantan, and what they don't know about it is that it's also called Love Boat because people there like party and have sex and like do bad stuff, and she just has a fun time, and the antics ensue. So, the Baron the Nightingale, back to that, is about Vasya and her first 17 years of her life growing up in Lesnaya Zemlya, which is a part of like 14th century Russia, and it is a fantasy. It is filled with whimsy and wonder, and I just adored this book. Like, I'm not selling it very well, but okay, so she can like talk to like Cherti, which is like the word for demons, but they're kind of like house demons, and like they help you. Like, they're the helpful spirits of the house. I know a lot of other cultures have like house spirits and like house gods, and this is kind of the Russian version, and she can speak to them. She can see like magical creatures and talk to them. The priest comes to her village and is basically trying to drive away all of the folkloric creatures because of God. And it has a really interesting narrative about the intersection between folkloric tradition and like just tradition in general, like not native, but like, I think I got lipstick everywhere. The traditions of the old gods, or like before Christianity became a thing and was like pushed on so many people, and like their old traditions intersected with Christianity and the new God, and like how I'm not as intelligent as a lot of people on here. Somebody could probably explain this better than me, but I just found that aspect of the book fascinating because so many countries and so many cultures before Christianity kind of invaded, and like before like the Spanish Inquisition or, you know, the Crusades, there was like so much like rich culture that was destroyed. You can definitely see this in like the indigenous parts of North America, where the gods of the indigenous tribes of America and Canada and Mexico were just kind of erased because they were sort of enslaved and like told that they had to worship God because of reasons. I think that Catherine Arden really explores that in a really interesting way, and that's not all that I liked about the book. I also liked Vasya. Vasya is such a kick-ass heroine. Like, she is wild as a wildcat. She like doesn't take shit from anybody. Like, she cares about her family, but she's not going to change herself for them. And it was just so good. I loved all the characters. The plot was very, very entertaining. I feel like I'm rambling about this, but it was just really good, and I feel like you should read it if you like fantasy, if you like kick-ass heroines who aren't like totally like she likes to dress as a boy because it's more comfortable for her, but like, don't we all? Like, I know a lot of people like skirts, but like most of us wear pants now, and imagine having to always wear skirts, like, and you live in 14th century Russia. That doesn't sound like a fun time to live as a woman. I mean, if you read the books you'll know why, but yeah. So the next book I read was this one, Nevermoor and the Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. I gave this 5 stars. This is about Morrigan Crow, and she is a little 11-year-old child who lives in the Wintersea Republic, and she is cursed, and everything bad that she does, everything bad that happens is somehow her fault, and like, she just has like a shitty little life where she has to write apology letters to people for like making eye contact with them. I can't even imagine. Oh my god, I would be like the angriest child in the world. And her dad, like, is always angry with her, and so there's this, but she has to be involved in her dad's life because he's like the chancellor, and he's like a politician, so he has to put on a good front for the constituents. So one day, she has to go with him to this thing called bid day, which is where after children finish preparatory school, they can get bid on by people to be, so that the children become their apprentices. I'm not even gonna try. And she gets 4 bids, and one of the bids is from Jupiter North, who kind of sweeps in one day and is like, "Come with me," and she has to escape this like hunt of smoke and shadow that's trying to kill her, and it's just like a wild ride. Like, this book is like, okay, so I have been having a lot of depression lately, and this book was just the thing that I needed. Like, this gave me so much like hope and good feelings and like warmth and like, it made me so happy. And you know that feeling that I'm sure a lot of people will relate to this, that you got when you first started reading those books, the series that shall not be named. That's pretty much how I felt reading this. Just the magical, like, safe, like, wonder feeling that is so hard to capture in a book. But Jessica Townsend, like, she did it. She's like the new author that I would recommend this series to any child. And like, she's probably going to be there's probably going to be like a million books in this series, and I'm going to read all of them because I would read like any book in this series. I don't care. I made my library order the second book because they didn't have it for some reason, like, rude. Yeah, I can't talk about this book like enough. Like, so fantastic, so much fantasy and like whimsy and like love, and like, I had to hold this book to my chest after I read it and just kind of sit there and like glow because this book gave me so many good feelings. So yeah, if I didn't gush enough about that, let's talk about my last book of the month, which is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Wow. So, this book is about 2 twins, Stella and Desiree, who live in this town called Mallard. And everyone in Mallard is black, but they are white passing, and they celebrate having light skin. And so the 2 girls leave Mallard one night, just unexpectedly, and they go to New Orleans, and they both kind of go off on branching paths, like, and what happens is it's like a family saga because it follows the twins and their children and their mother, kind of, and it like, I love family sagas, so I was always gonna love this book. But there are so many important themes in this book. Themes like colorism, surviving abuse, learning to love yourself, not changing for other people, and it was just so gorgeous. Like, it was an absolute masterpiece. Like, Britt Bennett has the knack, like, for writing. Like, she can write. And I say this in not lightly, but I think everyone should read this to understand just a little bit about colorism, and also just to like luxuriate in Britt Bennett's writing and her characters. Her character work is stunning. Like, these characters are so alive, like they practically leapt off the page. Like, and I adored all of them, even the ones that were horrible. Like, it's more like not adoring the character, but just adoring how well that character is crafted. And this book is just so well crafted. Like, it is absolutely beautiful. Like, this needs to win awards. Like, I can't even. It was absolutely wonderful. And I know that there's triggers for, like, racism, domestic abuse, transphobia, colorism, obviously. I think this book would be triggering for some people, and I know that this would be a lot of emotional work for a lot of black folks. And I would say go into this knowing that it's going to discuss the black experience in America with, like, between, like, white passing folks and darker folks, and just, I don't know, it was just so wonderful, and I'm so glad that I read it. I'm so glad that I picked this up. I just am so thankful to Britt Bennett for writing this. Like, it was amazing. So yeah, that's all the books that I read in November. I read most of Legendborn by Tracy Deonn in November, but I finished it on December 1st. So that's going to be in my December 1st wrap up, because I don't like putting in books that I finished the day after in my November wrap up. I just don't like it. But look forward to my December wrap up. If you watched all the way through, please put a Christmas tree emoji. It is Christmas time. Okay, so this has nothing to do with what I was talking about. It is the one day in Florida when it is cold, and I have this frog patterned onesie on, and I am still a little cold, and it is wonderful. I'm drinking a lot of mint tea, and just living my best life. And I just, it's been pretty great, reading month wise, temperature wise. So hopefully it continues to be cold. I would love to just be tucked up in my bed reading all cozy for a while, like for the next month, because Florida never gets cold. It gets cold like one day a year. So yeah, like I said, if you watch all the way through, leave me a Christmas tree emoji, or comment down below if you've read any of these books, what you thought about them. Did you love The Vanishing Half as much as I did? Because if you didn't, the answer is you're wrong. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!